Have you ever walked into your home and felt suffocated? Not by the air, but by the sheer number of things piling up around you. Old furniture gathering dust, closets overflowing with clothes you never wear, drawers packed with who knows what. You tell yourself you'll clean it up someday, but that day never comes. Here's the truth. Clutter isn't just about stuff. It's about energy, about mental space, about how easily you move through your own home. And before you turn 70, decluttering is more than just a cleaning project. It's a path to freedom. In this video, we're breaking down 7 household items that are secretly weighing you down, making life harder without you even realizing it. Letting go of them isn't about loss. It's about creating a home that feels lighter, easier, and truly yours. Before we dive in, comment number 1 below if you're ready to reclaim your space and your peace of mind. Expired medications and old toiletries. A hidden hazard in your home clutter isn't always obvious. While it's easy to notice an overstuffed closet or a dusty old chair, some of the most overlooked and potentially hazardous clutter is tucked away in medicine cabinets and bathroom drawers. Expired medications and old toiletries. For James, a 74-year-old retired firefighter from Texas, the realization hit one morning when he woke up with a splitting headache. He shuffled to his bathroom cabinet, searching for pain relievers, only to find a cluttered mess. Bottles of prescription pills from years ago, cough syrup with a faded label, and a tube of antibiotic ointment that had hardened over time. As he checked the expiration dates, he was stunned. Some medications had expired nearly a decade ago. He had been unknowingly hoarding useless and potentially unsafe medicine. The truth is, medications expire for a reason. Over time, their chemical composition changes, making them less effective and, in some cases, even dangerous. Antibiotics past their expiration date might not fight infections properly, and old pain relievers could cause stomach issues. Prescription drugs that were once necessary may no longer align with your current health needs, and taking them without consulting a doctor can be risky. But expired medication isn't the only culprit. Toiletries and personal care products also come with a shelf life. James, determined to clear out his space, opened a drawer filled with half-used lotions, cologne bottles collecting dust, and sunscreen from a family beach trip over a decade ago. Many people don't realize that skincare and hygiene products degrade over time. Expired sunscreen loses its ability to protect against harmful UV rays. Old mascara can harbor bacteria, and face creams past their prime may cause skin irritation instead of nourishment. As James sorted through the mess, he asked himself, "Why have I been keeping all of this?" The answer was simple: habit. Like many, he had stored these items away, assuming they might come in handy someday. But someday never came, and instead, they took up valuable space while quietly adding unnecessary risk to his daily routine. After an hour of clearing out his medicine cabinet and bathroom drawers, James felt lighter. He safely disposed of expired medications and tossed out old toiletries, replacing them only with the essentials. His bathroom no longer felt like a chaotic storage unit, but a clean, organized space where everything was fresh, safe, and actually useful. For James, this wasn't just about getting rid of clutter. It was about creating a home that supported his health, rather than one filled with forgotten, outdated remnants of the past. Old papers and unnecessary documents, a hidden source of stress. Clearing out expired medications and old toiletries can feel like a breath of fresh air, but another silent stressor often lurks in plain sight: stacks of old papers and unnecessary documents. For Eleanor, a 70-year-old retired accountant from Illinois, paperwork had always been a part of her life. Decades of balancing spreadsheets, filing tax returns, and organizing records left her with an ingrained habit. She kept everything. Bills from 20 years ago, manuals for appliances she no longer owned, expired warranties, and even greeting cards from co-workers she barely remembered sat in overflowing drawers, filing cabinets, and boxes stacked in the corner of her home office. One afternoon, while searching for an important insurance document, Eleanor found herself drowning in a sea of paper. Bank statements from the 1990s, investment reports long outdated, receipts from purchases she had forgotten she ever made. What should have taken minutes stretched into an hour of digging, shuffling, and growing frustration. That was the moment she realized this wasn't just about clutter. It was about control. The reality is, holding on to excessive paperwork doesn't add security. It adds stress. In a world where most essential documents can be stored digitally, keeping decades' worth of paper becomes more of a burden than a safeguard. Tax returns older than 7 years? Useless. Expired insurance policies? Irrelevant. Bank statements from a closed account? Completely unnecessary. Determined to break free from the mountain of paper, Eleanor tackled her clutter with a simple but effective system. Essential documents, legal records, active insurance policies, wills, and medical documents. These stayed, neatly filed, and easy to access. Shred and recycle. Anything outdated, irrelevant, or available online went straight into the shredder or recycling bin. Go digital. She scanned important documents and stored them securely on her computer and an external drive, eliminating the need for bulky paper files. As she cleared through years of accumulated paperwork, she felt something unexpected: relief. Her home office transformed from a chaotic archive into a clean, organized space. No longer weighed down by unnecessary files, she could find what she needed in seconds instead of hours. For Eleanor, this process wasn't just about tidying up, it was about reclaiming her peace of mind. Because, in the end, a life filled with meaningful experiences is far more valuable than one buried under a mountain of forgotten paper. Old, unused furniture, more than just wasted space. After clearing out stacks of unnecessary paperwork, there's another type of clutter that silently weighs down your home. Old furniture that no longer serves a purpose. For Walter, a 76-year-old Navy veteran from North Carolina, his home was a collection of memories, reflected in the furniture he had accumulated over the years. The oversized recliner in the corner that hadn't been sat in for years, the heavy wooden coffee table that had become more of an obstacle than a convenience, and the antique dresser with drawers so stiff they barely opened. All of it had once been useful, but now it just took up space. Walter never really thought about his furniture as a burden, until one day he nearly tripped over a side table while making his way to the kitchen. That moment made him pause. Why was he holding on to things that made it harder to move around in his own home? The reality is, as we get older, the way we interact with our space changes. What once felt cozy can start to feel overwhelming. Large, bulky furniture can make cleaning difficult, navigating a room frustrating, and even increase the risk of accidents. Yet, many people hold on to furniture not because they need it, but because of sentimental attachment or the feeling that they should keep it. Determined to make his home more functional, Walter took a hard look at what truly added value to his daily life. He made 3 simple decisions. If it was broken, uncomfortable, or no longer used, it had to go. That meant saying goodbye to the wobbly chair he hadn't sat in for years. If it made moving around difficult, it needed to be reconsidered. The heavy coffee table that blocked the walkway, replaced with a smaller, more manageable one. If it didn't contribute to his well-being, he let it go. The dresser he never used but felt guilty getting rid of? Donated to a family in need. As Walter cleared out his space, he noticed something incredible. His home felt bigger, brighter, and easier to live in. The rooms no longer felt cramped, and he could move around without constantly maneuvering around unnecessary obstacles. For him, letting go of old furniture wasn't about erasing the past. It was about making room for a future where he could move freely, live comfortably, and truly enjoy the home he had worked so hard to build. Clothes you no longer wear. A closet full of the past. After making space by clearing out unused furniture, there's another area of the home where clutter often lingers unnoticed. The closet. For Linda, a 71-year-old former school principal from Oregon, her closet was a time capsule. It was filled with decades of outfits, each carrying a story. The formal dress she wore to her retirement party, blouses from her years in the classroom, stacks of jeans that hadn't fit in over a decade, and even a winter coat from the 1980s that she had long since replaced but never gotten rid of. Every morning, she faced an overwhelming sea of clothes, yet she always reached for the same comfortable handful of items. One chilly morning, as she struggled to find a sweater among the overflowing shelves, she finally asked herself, "Why am I holding on to clothes I never wear?" The truth is, many of us keep clothing not because we need it, but because of what it represents. A dress might remind us of a special occasion. A jacket might be tied to memories of someone we love, or we simply convince ourselves that maybe one day we'll fit into those old jeans again. But the reality? A cluttered closet makes getting dressed harder, not easier. It adds decision fatigue, creates frustration, and leaves us feeling like we have nothing to wear, even when our wardrobes are packed. Determined to regain control, Linda set a simple rule for herself. If she hadn't worn it in over a year, it was time to let it go. She began sorting her clothes into 3 categories. Keep, the comfortable, well-fitting pieces she actually enjoyed wearing. Donate, the gently used clothes that no longer suited her, but could help someone else. Discard, the worn-out, damaged, or outdated items that no longer served any purpose. As she placed old suits, outdated skirts, and unworn jackets into donation bags, she felt lighter with each piece she let go. By the time she was done, her closet was no longer overflowing. It was intentional, filled only with pieces she loved and actually wore. For Linda, clearing out her wardrobe wasn't just about making space. It was about embracing the present instead of holding on to the past. And as she zipped up the last donation bag, she smiled, knowing her clothes would no longer collect dust in her closet, but instead bring warmth and confidence to someone who truly needed them. Kitchen items you never use. A recipe for clutter. After simplifying her wardrobe, Linda felt a sense of relief. But there was another space in her home that had slowly become overwhelming. The kitchen. For Frank, a 75-year-old retired engineer from Colorado, his kitchen had always been a place of comfort. He loved cooking for his family, experimenting with new recipes, and hosting Sunday brunches. But over the years, something had changed. His cabinets were crammed with unused appliances, mismatched containers, stacks of dishes for special occasions that never came, and drawers overflowing with utensils. The kitchen, once a space of joy, had become a source of frustration. One evening, while searching for his favorite skillet, Frank knocked over a pile of baking sheets, sending a cascade of clutter onto the floor. That was the moment he realized his kitchen was working against him instead of for him. The truth is, a kitchen filled with unnecessary items makes cooking more stressful. Digging through clutter To find the one tool you actually use wastes time and energy. Keeping gadgets you never touch, like the bread maker you swore you'd use, or the juicer collecting dust, only makes your space feel smaller. And let's not forget the excess dinnerware. How many coffee mugs does one person really need? Determined to reclaim his kitchen, Frank took a practical approach to decluttering. Essentials only. He kept the pots, pans, and utensils he used weekly, letting go of duplicates and single-use gadgets. Donate what's still useful. The extra dishes, unopened appliances, and kitchen tools in good condition went to a local shelter. Toss the rest. Anything broken, missing pieces, or too worn out to be useful was thrown away. By the time he finished, his kitchen felt lighter, more functional, and finally enjoyable again. Cooking became easier, and cleaning took half the time. No more digging through piles of clutter to find what he needed. Everything had its place. For Frank, this process wasn't just about organizing a room. It was about creating a space that worked for his life today, not the life he used to live. And as he prepared his next meal in his newly simplified kitchen, he felt something unexpected. Peace. Sentimental items that no longer serve you. Letting go without losing the memories. After streamlining his kitchen, Frank felt a newfound sense of order in his home. But there was one last category of clutter that was the hardest to face. Sentimental items. For Marianne, a 78-year-old retired nurse from Florida, sentimental clutter was the most difficult to part with. Over the years, she had collected letters from old friends, souvenirs from trips she barely remembered, gifts from people long gone, and boxes of birthday cards stacked in her closet. Some of these items carried deep emotional weight, but many were simply taking up space, kept out of guilt rather than genuine attachment. One afternoon, while searching for a family photo album, Marianne came across a dusty old shoebox filled with trinkets. Inside, she found a keychain from a vacation to Paris in the 90s, a cracked snow globe from a gift shop, and a pile of postcards from acquaintances she hadn't spoken to in decades. She realized she had held on to these objects